Let's talk about the organization of the nervous system. That's what NS is, abbreviation. Abbreviations for cool kids. Now you're a cool kid too, so we can say NS, and then we're talking about the nervous system. By the way, I hope the video only shows you from the waist up. I'm not wearing pants today. I mean, it's a pandemic, not a pantsdemic. You shouldn't have to wear pants during a pandemic. And I noticed today, actually, I have a drawer of t-shirts. I just grabbed the next one and put it on. I noticed today I put on a shirt that says, "I take life with a grain of salt, plus a slice of lemon and a shot of tequila." For me, it would be a slice of lime. But Alicia gave me this shirt. Alicia, thanks for the shirt. I love you wherever you are. Good luck, kid. Hope things are going great. Alicia took my class twice. Didn't do as well as she wanted the first time. Came back, took it again. Was one of the very top students in the class. Way to go, Alicia. So we have two basic subdivisions of the nervous system. We have the CNS, once again, abbreviations for cool kids, and the PNS. So the CNS is the central nervous system. The PNS is the peripheral nervous system. So the CNS has two basic divisions, the brain and the spinal cord. So we think of the CNS as sort of the intelligent part of our nervous system. And it is. You know, you think of the brain as being, thinking and memory and reasoning and problem solving and learning, and it is. The spinal cord is also intelligent as well. It can make decisions on its own without consulting the brain. It tells the brain what it does, and the brain can override it. But the spinal cord is, at least in some sense of the word, intelligent. It makes decisions, okay? And then the peripheral nervous system, the word peripheral means around the edges, around the outside. So the peripheral nervous system is the nervous system of the rest of your body, of the outsides of your body. Now, these two talk to each other, and that's extremely important. So the peripheral nervous system is picking up information about what's happening in the world around you, and it's telling the central nervous system. This is sensory information. And then the central nervous system tells the peripheral nervous system what to do. This is motor information. So motor, the engine, so these are signals that are going to cause muscles to move and glands to secrete things and so on. So it makes sense. The peripheral nervous system finds out what's happening out there in the universe. It tells the CNS, and then the CNS, if something needs to be done, it sends out signals to tell the PNS to do it. Like the PNS says, brain, our hand is on fire. And the brain says, damn, that ain't good. Better, put the hand in water, put out the fire. Or maybe you know somebody who would lick the fire off your hand. I don't know anyone who would do that, but maybe you do. But at any rate, incoming to the central nervous system and outgoing to the peripheral nervous system. So the peripheral nervous system itself, then, has two major subdivisions. We have the sensory subdivision and the motor subdivision, all right? This is what's bringing the information in and then sending it to the central nervous system. And when the central nervous system sends commands out, they go to the motor part of the peripheral nervous system. We often call the motor the efferent, and sensory is the afferent. In my own head, I have all these little silly things to help me remember. E is for exit. These are things that are exiting the central nervous system going out to the body. Efferent for exit. These are the motor signals. And A for approach. These are the signals that are approaching the central nervous system, coming from the body, going to the central nervous system, telling it, our hand is on fire. We think you should know that. All right, so then sensory, let's look at the subdivisions here. It has its own subdivisions as well. So sensory now, we're going to have two basic components of this. We have somatic, and we have visceral. So we have somatic senses and we have visceral senses, okay? Those are two different types of sensory information, sensory receptors. So somatic, this is basically your skin senses. What do I mean by skin senses? Pain, pressure, temperature, stretch, itch. These are things that are important for your central nervous system to know because they're things happening around the outside of your body. So your somatic sensory brings in skin sense information and sends it to the central nervous system. Visceral, what do we mean by visceral? Well, remember, viscera means organ. Like, you know, in Game of Thrones, where you take a sword and cut somebody open down the front, you eviscerate them. I don't watch Game of Thrones, but my wife does. But it's cool. I always stop by the TV when I get to see somebody's guts coming out, because that's awesome. So visceral, what are we talking about here? We're talking about internal organs. So these are senses that are coming from our internal organs. So what does that mean exactly? Well, I notice sometimes in the classroom, someone will suddenly get up, leave the classroom, they'll be gone for 5 or 10 minutes, and they come back. Now, I don't know what they're doing. I never ask. It's none of my business. This is the USA. It's a free country. Maybe they're out in the parking lot doing drug deals. I don't know. If they are, I wish they would cut me in, but I'm just kidding, of course, sort of. But I'm thinking it's more likely that they realize they had to pee, and they go and they pee, and then they come back. That would be a visceral sense, the feeling that you know when you have to pee, all right? The way you might know when you're about to puke, all right? If you had a pain, if you had gallstones, all right? If you had appendicitis, if you had kidney stones, all right? After, a big meal, you've eaten, you're full. People say, you want a piece of pie? No, I'm full. See, these are internal senses from your internal organs. Those are the visceral senses. So we have visceral sensory information and somatic sensory information, okay? Then the motor, the efferent, all right? Once again, we're going to have two basic subdivisions here, and it looks like I didn't plan this very well. Typical of my entire life. So let's talk about the SNS, all right? So the SNS, the somatic nervous system, this is sending out signals to your skeletal muscles, all right? So the somatic nervous system, again, if your hand is on fire, you need to run someplace to put your hand in water. Those are skeletal muscles. These are the big muscles we've been learning about in the whole last section of the class. Zygomaticus major, all those kinds of things, biceps brachii, coracobrachialis, brachialis, doing things like that, extensor, digitorum. These are skeletal muscles. These are signals making your skeletal muscles move. And then in contrast to that, we have the autonomic nervous system. Again, abbreviations for cool kids. I don't really have the space to write these out. You're just going to have to remember. Nervous system, central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, somatic nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system, instead of going to skeletal muscles, it's going to smooth muscles. Where do we have smooth muscles? Well, we talked about this before. Smooth muscles, find those in your blood vessels to do vasoconstriction, vasodilation, one of the main ways you control blood pressure in your body. Smooth muscles in your airways, bronchoconstriction, bronchodilation, controlling air in and out of your lungs. And remember, the linings of all your internal organs are also smooth muscle. So smooth muscle here, we're talking about controlling glands and secretions and airways and blood vessels and so on. This is basically our external environment. This is our internal environment. So the autonomic nervous system is really sort of, I say, the nervous system of healthcare. I mean, it's true there are disorders out here, but a lot of the people who end up in the hospital or going to the doctor are there because of problems with things going on with their internal environment, not so much the external. Then finally, The autonomic nervous system itself has two subdivisions. Yeah, just barely enough room. We have the sympathetic and we also have the parasympathetic. So sympathetic, this is the nervous system of crisis. This is often nicknamed the fight or flight. So when the chupacabra comes through the door, you got to deal with it. You got to fight back, you got to run, you got to do something. So the sympathetic nervous system tries to prepare you for that. It dilates your pupils so you can see better. It dumps epinephrine and norepinephrine into your blood and the adrenal medulla so that it goes to all the tissues of your body to help them be stronger. It goes to your, dilates your bronchi, it bronchodilates so you get more oxygen in. It increases your heart rate, increases what we call the contractility of your heart, the forcefulness of the beating of your heart. That's to deliver blood to the tissues of your body so you can move your muscles to run and fight. So this is what it's doing. It also inhibits digestion, it inhibits salivation. Who cares about the cheeseburger we had for lunch right now? We're fighting for our lives against the chupacabra. Or maybe it's against el cocuy. Or maybe la llorona. All right? Oh, mío. So sympathetic nervous system, yeah, fight or flight. And then parasympathetic, often referred to as the rest and digest. It basically does the opposite of this. So it constricts the pupils, slows the heart down, all right? Constricts the bronchi, all right? On the other hand, it enhances digestion. This is the nervous system, after Thanksgiving dinner, you've pigged out, had a couple of pieces of pie with the ice cream, the whipped cream, now you're ready to go over and lie down on the couch, drink some alcohol, watch the Dallas Cowboys lose again. So fight or flight, rest and digest, all right? Now, the autonomic nervous system we're saving for the fourth section of the class. This really is so important, it gets its own whole section of the semester, all right? It's in the third section, which is where we are now. It's all the rest of this that we're going to be dealing with, okay? So, get used to this. We use these terms a lot, and I want you to know what's going on when we talk about this. I use purple over here, I should use purple over here. What an idiot I am. I can't even stay consistent with my own damn decisions. Let's do this so you can take a nice picture at the end. So this would be smooth muscles. Whoops, this is a complete waste of time, isn't it? That's all right. I've wasted most of my life. No point worrying about it now. So smooth muscles, all right. And then over here we have the skeletal muscles, all right. Just take care of that all at once. Skeletal muscles. So there, I don't know how you feel about this, but I am so much happier. This just makes me more complete as a human being, and I'll now be able to go ahead and have that margarita and feel better about doing so. All right, so look this over, try to get this straight. Text or email me with any questions.